So the Xbox Game Showcase this year just wrapped up, and there's a few things that I think are really important for me to kind of discuss with you, because they're not as straightforward as games, which there is games to highlight here, but also like answers to things that people are talking about, like, you know, Xbox is just done doing exclusives. They're multi-platform now. And there's a game that they showed in the show that kind of might have proven that wrong. So this is 10 things that we learned in this Xbox Game Showcase, just both game-wise and big picture-wise. And man, it was so much fun to watch that with you in the community. Thank you to everybody that showed up. I'm Samurai KBG if you've never met me before. I love to talk about video games with you. I like to watch anime, work out. If you'd like to do those, let me know in the comments. But the first thing I want to point out is just how Xbox started this show. They started it by highlighting Xbox Play Anywhere. That wasn't right away. They had a couple trailers before that, but Xbox Play Anywhere, them kicking off the show with that really highlights what Xbox is going for. Like, this is the goal. The goal isn't just to make oodles of money and Game Pass and whatever. It's to get people onto their marketplace, for you to buy on the Xbox ecosystem. And them starting the show by saying everything in this showcase is going to support Xbox Play Anywhere, that just really helps support the mission, and something I think people are sleeping on. All we think about is things that are coming day one to Game Pass, but Xbox Play Anywhere is their true advantage over PlayStation and Nintendo. You buy that on Xbox, you can play it on your Xbox console, but you can also play it on your PC, on cloud, on something else that we saw in this showcase. But Play Anywhere, just them kicking off with that and saying every game is supported in the show, that kind of proves that this is another benefit to Xbox. It's not just Game Pass. It's like, hey, buy games here. You can play them anywhere you want after that. And that's really cool. That's something that they introduced in the Xbox One era that I really was worried that they kind of forgot about, but now they're really diving into it. It makes sense with how many places that you can play Xbox now, but we're going to come back to that one. Like, that's going to come up later, because you know what I'm talking about. The ninth thing on this list is another big picture thing, being their new, what seems to be their new marketing strategy. Like, admittedly, this is very much like speculation, but one of the reasons this Xbox Game Showcase, which is like my most anticipated showcase of the year, was kind of underwhelming to me is how much we didn't see. Like, we didn't see things that we know are in the works. We didn't see Gears of War E-Day. We didn't see Fable. We didn't see Perfect Dark. We didn't see OD. We didn't see State of Decay 3. Like, we didn't see many things that we know is in the works. But after simmering on it, I'm like, do we really need to? This year, Xbox showed, depending on how you look at it, 11 or 12 first-party things. Last year, they showed a whopping 17 in their masterpiece of a showcase, trimming that down by like 5 or 6 games this year with basically no presence from Blizzard. That kind of hurt at first, but now I'm thinking about it. When you think about all the games that they did show, they were games releasing this year. Basically all of them. They were all games that are releasing this year. It's almost like that whole 12-month thing that they did back in 2022, but this is them actually doing it. It's like, let's just focus on the stuff coming in the immediate future, except for one game that we're gonna talk about two entries from now. But like, and I just wonder if that's Xbox realizing that, hey, we have too many games now. We are no longer in this place that like Xbox has no games. Now Xbox has too many games. So let's just focus, and it helps budgeting wise too. Let's just market stuff that is coming out this year, very akin to Astrobot last year. Astrobot got revealed like a couple months, I think, or maybe just months, whatever, before it was released, and it became the Game of the Year contender. It got Game of the Year. That just has me, and it saves money. It saves money on the marketing, and that just helps make your team focus, put the money into the teams and the craft. So I'm kind of for this strategy if that's what they're doing. It's not quite as exciting, you know, because things in the far off future get really exciting, but it also just kind of makes you feel like everything's around. They're going to set up the back half of the year with the showcase, and they're going to set up the front half of the year with the developer directs. I don't know if I mind that. I'd love to know what you think. Number 8, do not touch Obsidian. Obsidian Entertainment is just Xbox's golden studio when it comes to production. I'm not saying it's their like every game they make is a game of the year or whatever. I'm just saying in terms of constantly releasing stuff that is getting a strong rating on OpenCritic and releasing frequently, Obsidian's going nuts, man, because at this show, not only, do we get Outer Worlds 2 with its release date of October and it's get its own developer direct, and not only at the start of the year did they release Avowed in February, apparently in the middle of all that, they're just going to reveal Grounded 2 in this show, and it's coming out in July. It's early access, granted, very similar to the first game, but just Obsidian, 3 games in 1 year. And that's putting aside the fact that they released Grounded before this and Outer Wilds DLC before this. Like, Obsidian and Pentiment, Obsidian is cooking. Don't touch them. They're making games for you. They're giving people reasons to subscribe to Game Pass. Don't touch them and figure out what the hell they're doing. Like, I want to make a video about that at some point. Like, let me know. But I want to make a video about, like, teams that are doing the damn thing. Now, number 7 is what I was teasing at earlier. Like, the only, to my knowledge at least, the only, like, big... Okay, I guess there's Black Ops 7, which, by the way, that was kind of a weird way to close the show, in my opinion. But Clockwork Revolution. Clockwork Revolution is a Game of the Year contender. It feels like InXile Games and Xbox Game Studios is... I don't know if sleeping on is the word, but they're making a Game of the Year contender. This game was the trailer of the show. It showed characters, style, mechanics, pizzazz, voice acting, and RPG. Thank you. I think I'm alone in all that. But this was just a phenomenal trailer, and it was like over 5 minutes long. I don't know why they didn't close the show with this game, but this was like one of the few games that was like, okay, we're not giving you a 2025 release date, and because we're not saying it's coming this year, we're just gonna give you a trailer and say it's coming in due time. And that's what I mean, man. Like, they're sitting on stuff that's in the future. But Clockwork Revolution, this was hands down my game of the show. But number 6, it's a very quick one, just unexpected sequels. I wasn't very high on Life. No pun intended. Like, the gameplay is actually a lot of fun. I thought the gameplay was cool, and the comedy was funny at first, but it just kind of overdid itself, in my opinion. But I just didn't expect we would get a sequel to that game. But especially what I didn't expect to get a sequel to is Planet of Lana. Planet of Lana is like a solid 8 out of 10 game to me. It's not the greatest thing, but it just seemed like a one and done. It had its story to tell, it had its lore to tease, but getting a sequel to this game was just something I would have never have put on my bingo card in a million years. And it's another day one on Game Pass title, which is fantastic. I love when just indie teams get that Game Pass check to help make their game. That's just cool. Very excited about that. The 5th thing on this list is one that I just think everybody didn't even catch because of how quickly it was mentioned, because towards the end of the show, Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, just goes like, to celebrate our 25th anniversary of Xbox, which is happening next year, we're going to be releasing a new Fable, Gears of War E-Day, a new Forza, and a classic that's been with us since the beginning. And I'm just like, what?
Today, you've seen an incredible range
of
games.
How do you just casually say, like, he just announced the next Forza without there even being an announcement? And that kind of supplements my number 9 on this list of just their new marketing idea. Like, look, we have other stuff that we could show you, but we kind of just want to focus on the stuff that's in the immediate future. We'll talk about that stuff, don't worry. But for now, I'm just going to tell you, most likely, the Halo 1 remake is coming next year. I'm not going to say it on this stage because Xbox just refuses to acknowledge Halo ever again. We're probably going to have a Halo 1 remake. We're going to have Gears of War. We're going to have Forza. We're going to have Fable. We're going to have our 4 Horsemen release in the same effing year. And he just verbally drops that. And we're almost at that answer about exclusives. But just another quickie thing is number 4, Xbox and Finally Fantasy is the way I'm going to put it. Finally, Final Fantasy, just the newest entries, the biggest entries coming to Xbox. The full edition Final Fantasy VII Integrate, the complete edition of Final Fantasy 16, they're both coming to Xbox. Not Game Pass, just Xbox, so that's cool. What a moment. Thank goodness. It's just the sign that Square Enix is just done doing those PlayStation exclusive deals. They'll probably have to write it out through the rest of Final Fantasy VII. But great moment for the Xbox peeps that have been waiting so long. Something that I've been waiting so long for is number 3. Double Fine are just mad scientists. We got to see their new game. That was one of my top 4 things that I wanted most in this show, and I got it. Their next game is called Keeper, and you are playing as a lighthouse. This is the most Double Fine thing. I can't imagine anybody doing a game like this, unless it was just some quirky, indie small scale thing. But no, this is, you could tell they have the Unreal 5 engine. It looks a great deal better than their last game, Psychonauts 2. And it's just a mad concept at the same time. You're just playing as this lighthouse. You have a bird friend maybe helping you. You're playing as a lighthouse. And it's coming out this year. It's, again, most of the first party things in the show coming out this year. It's coming out in October. I am so excited. But number 2 on this list is probably what most people are festering on in terms of the big picture of Xbox, and that is their handheld is actually not as far off as we thought. And what I mean by that is Xbox did have a first party handheld, one that they were making in-house as their own console kind of a thing. They were making that, and they still are, but they kind of put it in the back burner to focus on their partnered stuff and their Windows 11 gaming experience. And this device is the gateway to that. They are focusing all hands on deck for this Asus Rogue Xbox Ally is what they're calling it. Weird name, Xbox Ally. Let's just call it that. But yeah, we got to see it in this show. It looks really cool. It's got the grips on the side, which I appreciate. And the main thing though is that afterwards they have this whole they've had a lot of content creators get hands on, as well as this mini Vidoc, if you will. And it seems like they really are just focusing on making this basically an Xbox handheld. They're getting rid of the desktop UI to give more memory to just the gaming side of things, and just having these panels and windows to make it feel as much like an Xbox handheld as it possibly can. And that's what I want. And I bet you it's going to be stupid expensive. I don't know if prices are up yet. Let me know if they are. And I bet you it's not less than $700. They have 2 different SKUs, but I really appreciate that it's not like a portable PC. They are focusing on it being a very gaming centric thing and just getting the desktop UI stuff out of it to focus it on gaming. That's exactly what I want. I love it. But the biggest thing, and the first thing that I thought of in this list that I think is another thing that people aren't going to catch on to because it's very subtextual messaging in the show, Xbox exclusives are still a thing. And what I mean by that is I had this whole theory that Xbox, the reason they're doing this Gears of War Reloaded on PlayStation, and they'll probably have Master Chief Collection on PlayStation, and they released Hi-Fi Rush there and Sea of Thieves. They're slowly starting to put out a lot of games, even recent stuff like Indiana Jones. They're doing that to not get just more sales, but to give the other platforms a taste of what you can get on Xbox and what you could get on Xbox first or through Xbox Play Anywhere. They're giving them that little appetizer, if you will, but they're not going to get Gears of War E-Day. They get Gears of War Reloaded. They don't get Gears of War E-Day, at least not for the first year. That was my theory, and it kind of got confirmed in the show because Grounded 2. We see logos on all these trailers of where these games are going and the platforms they're going to be on. But if we look at Grounded 2, there is no mention of Nintendo on the release thing there. Nintendo Switch, no Nintendo Switch 2. There's no thing of Grounded 2 there. There's also no thing for Keeper, which is Double Fine's next game. And that's what's really interesting to note about those two is Grounded much more so. But just really quick, Keeper, Double Fine's previous couple games have been multi-platform. So why wouldn't this be multi-platform? Well, it's probably because it's a brand new IP that doesn't have association anywhere like Elder Scrolls, Call of Duty, and Minecraft do. But Grounded, on the other hand, Grounded initially released only on Xbox and PC, and then they eventually released the game to Switch, but Grounded 2 is not coming to Switch. It says it's only available on Steam, PC, and Xbox, like their usual thing. So that kind of, to me, it's like a prime example as to Gears of War Reloaded. It's coming to PlayStation 5, but Gears of War E-Day will not be. Grounded 1 came to Nintendo Switch, but Grounded 2 is only on Xbox. So that is something that, like, you know, while we are in a year, that Avowed still is not announced for PlayStation. South of Midnight is still not announced for PlayStation. Like, Xbox is still doing exclusives. They're just handling it in a different way. I just wanted to point that out. I feel like that's something that a lot of people didn't really catch alongside Phil's just really casual look at 2026, guys. I did like the show. I did think it definitely paled in comparison to last year. And it's probably going to feel like that for a while if they are moving on this marketing plan that I mentioned, where they just kind of focus on stuff that's within the rest of the year. Maybe a couple of neat picks, but it just sounds like they're adopting that Nintendo Direct style, where let's just talk about stuff that's in the near future and maybe tease at like 1 or maybe 2 things in the distant future. And honestly, Xbox can do that, because they have so many things they're sleeping on. And if you want to know like what their craziest launch year ever could be, it sounds like it's going to happen now. I've been Samurai Kiwaji. I hope you had fun with Showcase Week. I'll talk to you more in some live streams. Make sure you subscribe if you enjoy this. Be geek, be proud, be awesome.